Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about blood type and how to do Punnett squares and genetics with blood type. If you don't have your notebook out, go ahead and get it out now because you're going to be writing down these notes so you have them for reference later. So our learning target today, I can predict the offspring phenotypes and genotypes for blood type crosses. Okay, so we'll talk about what this means in a minute. Take a look at this picture. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me, if you look at all of these pictures, what do all of the pictures that have an A in them, what do all of them have in common? You'll notice all of the A blood types have the A antigen on them. This is a little protein. We can see it here, this little orange guy. It's a little protein on the surface of the blood cell, and it's called an A antigen. Antigen just means protein. Okay. Now let's take a look at all of the ones that have a B. So there's two over here, two over here. What do they all have in common? They all have the B antigen, so they have a B protein on the outside of the cell. Last but not least, what do all of the plus sign ones have in common? So this whole top row, what do they all have in common? They all have something called Rh factor. Again, this is a protein that's on the outside of the cell. Okay, you don't need to write any of this down, but I just wanted you to get an idea of what these blood cells look like and how they're named. So they're named for the proteins that are on the outside of them. So go ahead and write this down. An antigen is a protein on the surface of a cell. Sometimes we'll hear it called immunoglobulin. I'll probably always use antigen, but it's a protein on the surface of a cell. Over here, we see lots of different proteins here on the surface of the cell. These proteins are going to help do lots of different things. Some of them help send molecules or receive molecules. They help cells detect each other, but these proteins are very important. If you need more time to write, go ahead and pause. I'm going to continue on. So write this down. For our blood type genes, genes A and genes B are co-dominant. Think about what this word means, co, right? If you're co-parenting, you're parenting together, okay? So co means together. So they're both together, they're both dominant. So A is dominant by itself, B is dominant by itself, and when they're both together, they're dominant together. I'll show you what this means in a second. The O gene, however, is recessive, okay? So typically in regular genetics problems, we only have one dominant and one recessive. Here we have two that are dominant and one that is recessive. If you need more time to write, go ahead and pause. I'm going to move on. All right, you're going to need to copy down this chart. So go ahead, pause the video, copy down this chart. You can ignore this top part. We just need the charts here. So on the left-hand side, we have genotype. Those are the genes or the letters that make up the genes. And then on the right side, we have what blood type it is. So if you're type A blood, you could have either a big A and a big A, or a big A and an O. And we always write the O as lowercase because remember, O is recessive. If we have type B blood, we could have big B, or big B, little o. Okay? There's no such thing as little a or little b here because O is the recessive gene. If we have type AB blood, we have an A and a B. And if we have type O blood, we're just going to have two O's. Again, we write the O's as little always because the O's are recessive. All right, so let's do a problem. Mom is hybrid type B blood. Dad is hybrid type A blood. So the first thing we always need to do is figure out what's dominant and what's recessive. In blood type problems, this is never going to change. It's always going to be the same. Dominant is always going to be A and B. Recessive is always going to be O. So if it says mom is hybrid type B, let's look back at our chart. Okay, for type B, we've got big B, or big B, little o. Remember that hybrid means two different letters. Okay, so mom is going to be big B, little o. Dad is hybrid type A. So again, hybrid, two different letters. He's going to be AO. So for number 2 here, I wrote down, all right, our A gene is going to be represented by A, B gene by B, O gene by O. Again, that's not going to change either. I wrote down mom has big B, little o. Dad has big A, little o. Now we just write them in the sperm and the egg, right? A B, an O, an A, and an O, and we put them in our Punnett square. Remember, mom goes on one side, dad goes on the other side. You could have swapped these two. You could have dad over here and mom over here, as long as mom's genes stay together and dad's genes stay together. So when we fill this in, we have an AB, a BO, an AO, and an OO. So if we have an A and a B, what blood type will it be? This is going to be type AB. If I have a B and an O, what blood type is it going to be? This would be type B, right? Because O is recessive. What about AO? That's going to be type A because O is recessive. And what about OO? That's type O. So again, here, when we do our results, we've got 4 total squares, so 1 out of 4 for each of the blood types. All right, let's do one more sample problem. If you feel like you've got it, you can skip this sample problem, but make sure you follow up with the notes that are after this. All right, so mom is heterozygous type B, dad is type AB blood. So again, what's dominant? A and B. What's recessive? O. What's going to represent my A gene? The letter A. B gene, letter B. O gene, letter O. So heterozygous, remember that's 2 different. So if she's got type B and 2 different letters, she's going to have a B and an O. And dad is AB, so dad's going to be AB. Okay, so BO and AB. We put them into our sperm and egg, and then we put them in our Punnett square. So AB, BO. You'll notice here we have a BB and a BO. These are both going to turn out to be type B blood. So I have here type B blood is 2 out of 4. Then we've got AB, that's 1 out of 4, and then type A, 1 out of 4. All right, here is the last bit of notes we have to write down. There's also something called an RH factor, okay? We saw on these pictures that RH meant they have a positive in their name. So RH plus or RH positive means they do have that black RH protein. Now it's not actually black on the cells, but it's just black in this picture. If you're RH negative, it means you don't have the protein. So you might hear people say, oh, I'm A negative or O positive. That positive or negative is talking about whether or not they have this extra protein, this RH factor protein on the outside of their cells. So RH positive is dominant, RH negative is recessive. So let's do a sample problem. Dad is heterozygous for RH positive factor, and mom is homozygous for RH negative factor. So dominant, always going to be RH positive. Recessive is always going to be RH negative. The positive gene, we're just going to use a plus to symbolize it. The negative gene, we're going to use a minus. Dad is heterozygous, meaning he's going to have one of each, a plus and a minus. And mom is just going to be minus minus because she has two of the same. So we put them in the sperm and the egg, and we fill out our Punnett square. So I've got mom on this side, dad on this side. I just carry them through. How many are going to be positive out of this Punnett square? 2, right? So 2 are going to be positive. How many are going to be negative out of the Punnett square? 2. So 2 are going to be Rh positive, 2 are going to be Rh negative. And that's how you do blood type. You'll either be asked about ABO or you'll be asked about positive and negative.